Between science and ignorance, there is filler.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal Filler. Original recording date, July 3rd, 2016. I am your host, Wes Forsythe, and tonight my guest is Dr. Kimberly Rackley. Kim and I were talking before here just a few moments before the show, and we have not actually spoken, at least on air, for almost 2 years now. So we've got some catching up to do. But she'd been on Paranormal Filler. I think I talked to her on the Paranormal Icon. We used to talk all the time, and, you know, shit happens. Remind everyone that Paranormal Filler is brought to you by Ken Boggle's House of Cards, tarotbyken.com. And it's been a beautiful week here in Kentucky, and then today it was even more beautiful because it rained all damn day. I spent the day riding the couch and the recliner. I tried to catch up on some rest that I had been sorely lacking. So I should be nice and fresh for Dr. Kim's interview tonight. Now, one thing we're on the countdown, people. The Method with Brian J. Cano at Bobby Mackey's Music World, Wilder, Kentucky, Sunday, July 24th, 2016. Event coming up. There are still regular tickets left. The VIP passes are sold out, but there are basic event tickets, which get you into the meet and greet, full investigation, even a light dinner somewhere during the night. God only knows when. But so he has not sold out that event, and it's limited to 40 people, not counting those Paros celebrities. So he's not packing the building, but for some reason the 40 guests the 30 general tickets have not sold out. So if I know Bobby Mackey's is on your bucket list. This is a great chance to go with a qualified and interesting and fun investigator to learn his methodology. And if you happen to be one of those people that is so worried because of the stuff you saw on Ghost Adventures versus the stuff you saw on Ghost Hunters, I will be there to protect you. I will, if anybody asks, I will show them metaphysical psychic protection methods that have kept me safe in the building. Nothing bad has ever happened to me in there. And remember, people, I was the guy that Wanda K called in to keep the place quiet. So I feel qualified. Hello, Dr. Kim, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Wes. I'm happy to be here.
I'm just happy that you're still around. I was worried about you. You just kind of dropped off the map there. So it's good.
Well, I've been going through some changes.
Spiritual, personal, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, actually. Yeah.
Well, of course, you've also now everybody to introduce you to Dr. Kim. You're gonna love this intro, Kim. Okay, I stole most of it off your website. Ordained Metaphysical Minister and Practitioner, Psychic Medium, Theta Facilitator, and Spiritual DNA Activator, and Spiritual Advisor to certain second-rate podcast hosts. Dr. Kim is one of my go-to people. Actually, she's one of the top 2, top 3, Dr. Kim, that when I actually need spiritual advice, metaphysical help, you are one of the people, my go-to people. But as you can tell, for the last year and a half, I've been a little quiet. So
you have.
It's not that I haven't been coming to you. It's that I've been locked. I've just been locked into this cycle of going from one personal emergency to another that has just totally kept me spiritually constipated, would be a good way to put it. And
it sounds like my year.
But of course, now the difference in me and most psychics. Now, I have not noticed this with you, although for all I know, you might be sick all the time too. I think that people that open themselves up to the spiritual realm and open themselves up to the energy that is bouncing around, open themselves up to a lot of bad. I hate to use the word mojo because it has no meaning to me. But a lot of bad stuff. Most of the psychics, it reflects in poor health. Psychics are the sickliest bunch of people I have ever been around in my entire life. They've always got some type of ailment, cold, backache, stomachache, always something going on. Others of us, I think it hits us more on a mental state where possibly depending on how we're trying to focus ourselves, that we get knocked off course. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I'm always coming down with something. I'm always have a weak immune system. I get migraines a lot, especially if I've been really psychically active, like back-to-back readings or like back-to-back paranormal investigations. Yeah, I always get sick or I end up with a migraine. I actually went through a bunch of medical tests this year because I was beginning to worry. I couldn't figure out how to solve the problem because clearings weren't working, and so yeah, it was kind of scary. But I agree. Yeah.
But so, do you think it's because do we wear ourselves down or do we open ourselves up?
It's a combination of both. We're taking in energy, but we're also giving energy out at the same time. And the energy that we take in from others or even events that are going on around us, it can stay stuck in our aura, and then it will become stuck in our actual cells. So we have to keep cleansing ourselves on all levels, not just, the psychic level. Like we can't just wash ourselves off in light and expect it to be done. We have to keep our bodies clean, our minds clean, our thoughts clean, and our emotions clean. Well,
that explains my problem right now. I don't think I qualified under any of those suggestions that you just had. So I'm too far. I am way too far gone for help that doesn't come from the professional level. Okay, I want to go back to your bio. Let's talk about some of the things you know. It's good. It's good. It's a chance to pronounce yourself. First of all, I wanted you to a couple of things I want to define because they're not words that people are normally. They don't enter the everyday jargon. Theta Facilitator. Would you tell people what a Theta Facilitator is?
A Theta Facilitator is someone who can reach the Theta state in 90 seconds or less. The Theta state is actually the etheric plane. And from the etheric plane or the Theta state is where you can manifest change, command healing, remote view. It's even more powerful than being a clairvoyant or a psychic. From this state, you're in communication with Source directly. The Theta state is the state that gurus are often in all the time. It's used in hypnosis, and everyone goes into the Theta state on and off during the day. Like if you're getting involved in like playing a video game, your brain automatically goes to the Theta state. So that's the state where everything is created. That's all a potential, all possibility, all everything.
So in other words, so basically the concept is based on that little fuzzy part you get before you take a nap.
Yes.
In other words, where you're half asleep and half awake.
Yes.
Now
I'm just trained to do it without falling asleep. I'm trained to stay in that state with my eyes open. Yeah.
Well, now see, okay, now I have learned to do it. Now 90 seconds on a good day. Really good day. No, if I'm in, it's odd if I'm actually in the field, I can generally hit it. Now 90 seconds is probably a stretch, but I can hit it fairly quickly. But and then pull. Now I have to admit, now sometimes I think that maybe I go a little past, like you said, doze off, but I do pull myself out of it. But it's something that that I am learning to use. I think, once again, you were the person that suggested it. But I don't really... is there anything that a person can do to other than, is it just practice? I mean, what teaches a person to not only go into that state, but to use that state of mind?
It's just a matter of practice and knowing when you're actually in the theta state. It's just a matter of stepping up. You're actually going back within yourself, but to do so, you have to step up into the higher planes. So the way I teach people is you imagine a stairway of 7 steps, and you lift your consciousness up each step, and each of the 7 steps is a different plane of existence, and you don't want to stop on any of the other planes except for the 7th one, because 2 of them can be very dangerous. So you just don't stop. You just keep walking up the step, and once you get there to the 7th step, if you're really in theta, you see a bluish white light, or you feel absolute love, and your eyes will kind of like roll back in your head, and your head will feel like it's really lifted. So it's just a matter of practicing. Anyone can do it.
Now, my method for reaching that state is considerably different. First of all, I don't have to worry about the steps because I'm peering over top of them. Now I do have to close my eyes to do it. Or at least at this point in life, I do. But now I look for that light you're talking about. And then once I focus on that light, then I use it. Now, like I said, I don't use it to manifest change. I usually use it for the quickest, shortest way to get important messages from the other side. And so I stare at that little light you're talking about and then try to go into it visually. And then once I get, if I'm successful, then that's how it works for me. But it never occurred to me to think of stairs. See, I would forget what stair. I would trip. I would, there, because and you laugh at that, but that is actually how my mind works. When I've tried to do guided meditations, Pat Boussard has a beautiful, beautiful guided meditation CD. And she walks you through this, tells you to go through this, onto this beach and all this stuff. And, and she's telling me how beautiful it is, and I'm stepping on shells and saying, God damn, it's hot out here, and that type of stuff. And that's the way my mind, I don't know if I can't take anything seriously or what, but but it does. My mind wanders so much even during meditation that I think that's why when I'm in a haunted location, then I'm really concentrating on the task at hand, and maybe that's why I don't have that problem there. It's more of that's what my mind's on.
Right. And you also have spirit assisting you. You have all your guides assisting you, so they kind of block out what would distract you. Yeah,
but would it kill them to do it from day to day? And I realize they're spirits. You can't. They're apparently they already died at some point. But yeah, so I'm just gosh, I don't know why they put up with me. Now let's move on to spiritual DNA. Now, actually, this is something you tried to work with me on. But what is a spiritual DNA activator?
Okay, there are 12 strands of DNA that have no purpose, and they vibrate on the etheric level. And this is what is called spiritual DNA. This is the DNA that holds all the programs of our wholeness and our divineness, our immortality. And the DNA can be activated or altered, just like regular DNA can be now that they're finding out in science. Even science has stated recently that the DNA can be influenced with thoughts and with feelings, and that's exactly what theta and spiritual DNA has been doing for over 20 years, influencing the DNA and the belief system and consciousness of a person. You can use it to heal and to enhance anything, or to become anything, or even to remember what you are, or what your full potential is. There's a youth and vitality. That's the most popular one when I do spiritual DNA activation. It's called we activate the youth and vitality chromosome. And what it does is it slows down your aging process by at least 20 to 30 years. So you age more slowly and your DNA replicates more quickly.
Yeah, what if that's so far in the rearview mirror that, in other words, somebody like me that is, I'll put it this way. If I stopped aging right now, I'm still too damned old. So
no, it does work. I mean, no one can believe that I'm a 47-year-old grandmother of 6. I mean, it works. And I just redo myself for every 10 years. As long as I can stay looking 38, I'll be all right.
Well, there you go. No one can believe that I'm a 28-year-old male who has been rode hard and put away wet. Now you do. Now what has always amazed me, and now everybody, a full disclaimer, she tried to help me with some of the remote stuff that she does, and one time in particular, and I'll tell the story here in a moment, I really felt like it worked because I got something that I had never gotten before. But you do a lot of remote work. How? I'm an on-premise guy. Now, I can occasionally do a little bit of remote viewing and stuff, but manipulating someone or the environment remotely just seems totally foreign to me. How does that work for you?
Well, you have to think in terms of energy and intention. So you go into Theta and you intend for your consciousness to be in a certain location or with a certain person, and you are immediately there, because on the etheric plane everything is instant. And then it's just like watching a movie unfold. You're just there. Your soul and your consciousness take you right to where you need to be. It's kind of like astral travel, but not. I mean, it's still on this plane, but it's similar to regular remote viewing. It's just you're sending your consciousness and your soul at the same time. So you always have to be careful that you don't leave parts of your soul behind. But you can see, hear, and feel. You can communicate with anything that you come in contact with, be it alive or otherwise. It's just, I don't know. It's easy for me. I don't know how to explain it any better.
In your opinion, for the novice, we'll go at that level. Is astral travel safe for the masses? The reason I ask, let me preface that by saying the reason I ask that is that one in particular practitioner was telling me that I have to be willing to trust my guides to take care of me, the human, the physical me, whilst I'm gone. Do you consider that a factor, or is that just something that is it overblown? Is that something you don't worry about? How does that work? That part, because if your soul, I'm assuming, does it stay completely connected, or does the soul actually travel to this place? Get into that a little bit more for me.
The soul is always connected to your body by what we call the silver cord. So you always have a safety net there. I wouldn't, if you've never astral traveled before or meditated or anything, I would never suggest trying to just suddenly astral travel, because it takes caution. You still have to have caution while you're doing it. The only way that you would not come back into your body from the astral plane is if you were murdered while you were going to the astral plane and out of your body. I mean, that's the only way you wouldn't come back.
I don't think that was so much the caution she was having as leaving it open for other people to dick around. Not other people, but
well, that's a real danger. Yeah, it can happen, and once you leave your body. And you enter the etheric plane or the astral plane, anything and everything can influence you. Anything and everything can attach themselves to you. It can be either physically, like an entity can attach to you, just like if you went to a location on an investigation and a spirit attached itself to you, the same thing can happen. They can leave residual thoughts in your consciousness. They can leave you with feelings that are not yours. They can give you their depression, their everything. So it is dangerous. And I protect myself. I mean, obviously, and once you go to the astral plane so many times, you get a feel for who you can communicate with and who you shouldn't. Because everyone has an imprint. Every entity, every living individual, every spirit has a unique imprint to themselves. So every shadow person has an imprint that's unique to shadow people. Every demon has an imprint that's unique to them. Every master, every angel. So you just have to learn how to identify the imprints of who you're communicating with. And then it lessens the danger that you're in.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more Paranormal Filler and my guest, Dr. Kimberly Rackley.
Hello, friends. Are you exhausted with life? Resent your children? Maybe your husband is cheating on you. Get yourself a tarot reading with Ken Boggle. He can provide you with the clarity, guidance, and answers you need. That's tarotbyken.com. He makes things seem less shitty.
And welcome back to Paranormal Filler. My guest is Dr. Kimberly Rackley. Okay, Dr. Kim, this whole... I was going to tell everybody this story before I go into that. I was going to tell them when you tried to open my third eye remotely. I'm still spiritually constipated, but I will say that Dr. Kim did her meditation on me one night, and I was really having a tough time, everybody, getting my communication back up and running with my spirit guides. And so there I am, I'm meditating, and one of them tried to get through to me. And the reason it stands out so much so far in my head versus anything else that I could have imagined or dreamt or whatever was that I heard the voice, and I never actually hear their voices. I heard the voice, and it sounded like it was on a really shitty AM radio. There was static and everything, but it was just like there was that, and I'm assuming the static was from me, that there was that barrier that they were trying to come through. So I just wanted to share that you do that type of thing.
I do.
Sell yourself harder, woman. Okay, now, what is this blog project of yours new that you've started?
Yes, it's very new.
Okay, so that's under the new medium rare label, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Tell us where we're going with this.
Well, I told you I've been going through some changes, and I realized that part of what was wrong with me was I wasn't fully expressing myself as who I am. And sometimes you can be so professional or politically correct in a field that you begin to lose yourself. And you also begin to lose your authenticity and your uniqueness. And I was not happy doing things the way that I was doing them. Because I'm a minister, society expects me to look, speak, and act in a socially acceptable way. And the more I tried to conform to that, the less effective I became, and the less happy I was. I was hiding my nature, my true nature. And just because you're a spiritual healer or a minister, it doesn't mean that you have to, wear turtlenecks or collars and not relay things about your life that are really going on. I mean, I'm a woman. I'm a very primal person. I'm bold, I'm vain, and I love life. And it's part of my experience as a medium, as a teacher, and as a minister. Those things need to be shared. It's all one thing. It's all a part of life. And so that's what sparked the Done Medium Rare. It's me. It's all of me. Every experience, what was going on in my life during that time, if I was, swimming buff in the pool and a UFO came down, you're going to know that I was swimming buff in the pool. And it's just going to be that. It's going to be every aspect of real life as a psychic medium, and that's Done Medium Rare.
Now, I would not have been surprised if you filtered certain things that you said or the way you presented yourself, but now I cannot remember ever seeing you in a turtleneck. We were laughing before the show.
Only at my sister's wedding.
Okay, before the show, we were talking. Dr. Kim's banner that I put on Twitter and around the internet for tonight's show came out really nice. And she made the comment, why didn't you use a newer picture? And I basically just came out and said it's because most of your pictures are selfies and they look like down blouse shots on an internet site. But then apparently that's the look she's going for.
Exactly. I mean, that part of me is a big part of me. I mean, there's no sense in hiding it. So I don't. Why hide? Why hide who you are? Is part of who you are. You have to be comfortable with all parts of who you are, and that's a big part of me. So I don't hide it. It's like denying myself.
Just out of curiosity, are you expecting a UFO to visit you while you swim buff in the pool?
Well, no, but the things that happen to me, I never know.
Here's something that I toil with personally on the show. Now, of course, my entire concept of the paranormal is that I will listen to everyone. Some things they say fit into my worldview. Yeah, that's a weak word. Metaphysical worldview. And some of them I think they're so far out in left field that they, they're sitting in the bleachers. They're not even on the field anymore. That being said, I still like hearing it, though, because I do like to... But it's a constant struggle to decide who's right and who's wrong. And I get a lot... And this is one thing that you've never come across to me as was judgmental about other people's perceptions of the way things are. But the topic of UFOs comes up, and doing the show, I get a lot of various views. Last week, in particular, views on what is going on in the world of UFOs and aliens. Since you brought it up, what are aliens? I mean, are they little gray men from another planet, or is there something more metaphysical, spiritual, interdimensional about them? What is your view on that topic?
Well, spiritual, I'm not so sure about. I mean, that would be based on a person's concept of what spiritual is. But I do believe that there are some that are higher beings, and some, just like, we have a concept of good and bad, devil, Jesus. I believe there's the same division between the alien factions. So I also believe that we are the aliens. We were originally the aliens. No one is original to the planet Earth. And, aliens exist. They can be as varied as we are, from culture to culture. There's no one set kind of alien, and there's no one set agenda, and there's no one set reason for them to interact with us or to influence us. And are we being influenced on a daily basis? I believe so. And it's not just by one faction of aliens, it's several. Some work together, and it's a constant battle. There are some that are good and some that are bad. So we have that battle going on that most of us are not aware of for mankind's consciousness. Why mankind's consciousness is so important to the alien factions, I'm not sure, except for they are envious of the fact that we have a soul. And most other, this is what my guides told me, most other life forms do not have the type of soul consciousness connection that human beings have. So the aliens desire to attain that secret, or to live as that.
Now, okay, quick interruption here. Did they evolve in a different direction? Have they evolved beyond that connection, or have they yet to reach that connection? The reason I ask that, now I want to preface this by saying I was not a believer in pets having souls. And the reason is because I never wanted to decide how far down the food chain I had to give a soul to. You know, am I going to hell because I like fried chicken? That type of thing. But the only psychic that has ever made me cry was a damn pet psychic. And I have seen these people do this absolutely incredible work. And so if I can attribute a soul, although not like our soul, granted, to not exactly like our soul, although I wonder sometimes if in the process of reincarnation, every now and then somebody says, can I be a dog just once? You know, that type of thing. But getting beyond that. But that's why I asked that. So do you have any input on that, on why they don't have a soul that like ours?
I think it's the fact that, and this will be hard on religious people listening, I think everyone thinks there is one creator of everything. And there is several creators of all things. And our creator that we consider God, or the Father, he is the one that came up with the concept of souls and consciousness being combined together. And it is that they want. So there are other creators besides the God that we know or that we recognize as our creator. And that's what they're looking for, his secret to the soul and consciousness being one. Because that's true immortality.
Okay.
And by the way, you can't come back as a dog or a chicken, okay? And if you squish a spider, they're just little sparks of the divine. They don't actually have a soul or consciousness, so it's okay to squish a spider or a roach or whatever.
Okay, well, you know, that. I really wanted to come back as a cat, though. Just not do a damn thing all day. But
not happening.
Okay, so there is a delineation between the souls, because another reason I asked that is I had a dog one time that after I came to where I believed in animals having a type of soul, this dog was so intelligent that I was convinced that he would never reincarnate again as an animal, that he was going to sit it out and wait till he got a real human body. But you're telling me that cannot happen?
No.
Okay.
No. Animals are unique souls unto themselves. They're God's pets, and he has a purpose for each of them. And actually, animals, they are so close to God, closer than we are, that they are not afraid to die. They're not afraid of death. They're not afraid of the world in any way, because they're that close to God. They know that if they if they're going to die, that it's part of the process and that they'll be back. They have a specific purpose. Each animal on the planet actually has a specific purpose, and that animal knows its purpose. And so an animal soul is different than a human soul.
Okay, I buy into that. Really, that I sound a little flippant about it, but that's really one of the early. And this is before I ever got into pet psychics. I read an interview one time where somebody interviewed a pet psychic who went to his stockyards, and because all the vegan people, you're killing one of God's creatures, and the pet psychic said, or the animal psychic, whatever you want to call her, said that she talked to the cows, and it was like, we're okay with it. We understand, people's got to eat.
It's their program, and it's their purpose. They know that that's their purpose that God gave them, and they know they're going to go right back up to God. And on the other side, there is this place called animal husbandry, and that's where all animals that ever die go, and until it's time for them to come back and refill another purpose. But cows and chickens and fish, they know what their purpose is for God, and they're not afraid of that. Because I had the same problem when I was younger. I'm like, I'll never eat a steak again, or a cheeseburger. It's horrible, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm totally over that because me and the cows have an understanding.
There you go. Okay. I am on that train, baby. Although I really wish that certain varmint-type critters would be a little more fearful of death, and word would get around not to come around the Forsyth household. We've been waging quite the battle lately with various medium-sized rodentia and such. It's been a full-time job. Raccoons, possums, skunks out the wazoo around here. So
did you think that they might be trying to tell you something?
Well, they're telling me they like cat food, but other than that, I got no message from it.
No. When that happens, like back to back, and a lot of them, it's usually a sign. Okay, you have cosmic guides and you have elemental guides. Just like in the world of shamanism. Mm-hmm. So in the world of the shaman, every animal and everything it does has a purpose and an intention. Mm-hmm. So these animals might be trying to get your attention in some way. So take, for example, David Weatherly and I are really good friends, and he's a shaman. And I've been having this problem with spiders everywhere. And I walked out the other morning to take the dogs out front, and overnight they had weaved spider webs from the ground up to the side of my house. The whole front of my house was spider webs, and there was like 40 spiders. These big, really big spiders. And my first thought was, I need to call David. And I talked to David, and he told me what it meant, which fits in with the surreal things that are going on with my life right now, and that is changing in a dramatic way. And animals are signs that you need to pay attention to something.
Well, I had 2 skunks this spring fornicating in my yard, and I cannot wrap my head around what the message could be from that. And
Anita needs a little extra romance.
If that's the best way that the cosmic forces can come across to give me that message, because I'll put it this way: there is nothing that will knock you out of the mood faster than having 2 skunks fornicating, doing anything, frolicking, whatever the hell they were doing. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so I'm still trying to wrap what in the world could the universe be trying to tell me, other than as I mentioned before to you, I've been eliminating stressful things from my life, and so maybe that just tells me that I'm supposed to be stressed because I'm supposed to have stress in my life.
No, you're not. I do have a message for you, though.
Okay, sure. Go. Let's go for it. Everybody, Dr. Kim has a message from the other side for me.
Well, you have a quiet kind of authority that attracts people, but not only people. You attract spirits too, and every other thing that could possibly exist, which I call the otherwises. You attract them because you have not only the compassion and understanding to assist them, but you also have the authority to tell them what to do. So, you, in some way, everything that you attempt to do in the paranormal or with spirituality is a way to find how to effectively assist the otherwises and the spirits, plus the people themselves. So you're forever on a journey of looking for the effective way to express this part of yourself. And I think they're trying to get the point across that you need to focus on the word authority. I think you need to realize that the command is what you need to do. You have the authority to command what needs to happen with a spirit or an entity. Does that make sense?
I'll put it this way: in the spiritual world, the field work, we'll lower that bar. In field work, yes, that makes perfect sense. And I have had this borderline argument with a lot of psychics until one of them goes out with me, and then they say, well, maybe you're onto something. But on the more personal spiritual plane, I'm not going to say I don't believe you. I'm going to say that I have a problem with it. Because, I mean, I've been told that, I'm going to lose some religious listeners right now. I've been told that I should boss angels around. Of course, I didn't say it that way. But, I am allowed to tell them what to do, not just ask them politely and, in prayer, etc. And I'm really uncomfortable with that concept of commanding, commanding, that's a good word, commanding any, what I would consider a higher being, to do my bidding.
Okay, well, you need to understand that God, as we know him religiously, gave us angels to command. Okay? They are at our command. So, and you have to realize that you are God. God is within you. So it's not you commanding the angels, it's God commanding the angels. You're doing it as God in the physical presence on the planet. That's what you have to understand. Get it?
I'm sure you were raised in a good Judeo-Christian household, and you know how foreign that sounds.
In that household, I'm the devil's child.
The God within me concept, I don't really have a hard time with that because I do believe in an infinite universal God that I am a part of. Everybody's a part of. So that part I don't have as much trouble with, but I guess you could say that the hard part is making that leap of that next leap of faith, if you will, to take on that role that I always attributed to the God. And so I'll have to think on that.
Yes, you will.
But so that was my message for the evening.
Yeah.
See that
except for
that's something I've not covered a lot on my show. Now it comes up fairly often when I'm interviewed. People want to know what I do in the field, and say, "Well, you're not going to believe me." And but I do. How can I put this delicately? One of the things that psychics always say to me is that all ghosts, spirits, etc., have free will. And I do agree with that to a great degree, but I think, okay, humans have free will. But if you get a speeding ticket, someone will make you pay a fine. It will not be your free will to pay that fine. So it always occurred to me that there are exceptions to free will. And that's how I've always approached the metaphysical world. If you want a ghost out of your house, my first way of going is to do it on the free will. But if I can't get there, then there are other things I can do.
Exactly, but this is what you have to remember. Yes, spirits and entities have their own free will, but they are not physical beings. So they have we can command them to leave the physical presence because this is not their reality, their world. Mm-hmm. This is not their realm. So we have the right to command them to leave. So their free will does not apply on the physical plane, only in the etheric and astral plane, which is why we have to be careful when we are on those planes.
I think the biggest disappointment in that side of my spiritual life has been, after all that was said and done, the one thing that I cannot get around is human free will. And so many times I've done my due diligence, I've done what I feel, and then the people that I've helped don't do all the things that I tell them to do, or more to the point, not to do. And the next thing you know, the activity comes back, and I think it's because they miss it.
Exactly. Most paranormal activity is caused by the individual themselves, and they don't want to take responsibility for it. They're either creating it to fulfill them in some way or to be special in some way. And that's the problem that, I've always had with people. They don't want to take responsibility for the creation of the activity itself. Yeah, I totally agree. So no matter what you do, if they really don't want the issue to be resolved, no matter what you do, it will not be resolved. And then they'll just keep going from team or person to person because it makes them feel as if they're alive or they're being paid attention to. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, back to being a medium rare. So, see, psychic is too easy to turn these psychic conversations around to me. So what are you going to do with this now? Okay, I realize you're going to be out there and open. How is this going to affect, we'll call it your professional life?
I'm not sure how it's going to affect.
Well, I mean, are you planning on doing things differently, or are you just planning on talking about it more, posting more selfies? I mean, how will the general public see this manifest?
They will see it as Kim and Dr. Kim being all woman and all psychic medium at the same time. That's how they'll get me. No more, sweet illuminating, things here and there. I'm going to give it to you up front and personal, because that's what life is. There's only so much you can sugarcoat and make honey and sweet, and sometimes you got to apply the vinegar, and that's what I'm going to be now. You're just going to get it full, up close and personal, everything I do.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get some plugs in for Dr. Kim, and you'll be able to follow up with her and find out what it means to be a medium rare.
Learn the method at Bobby Mackey's with Brian J. Cano. Sunday, July 24th. Learn investigating techniques, participate in experiments, and come experience Bobby Mackey's firsthand. Join Brian as he explores the infamous Bobby Mackey's music world for the first time. His method tour focuses on the process, philosophy, and execution of paranormal investigating and is suitable for novices and veterans alike. Brian's goal is to take each attendee and alter their perspectives with critical thinking, basic techniques, and logic. Event highlights will be broadcast live by me, Wes Forsyth of Paranormal Filler. Be interviewed about your experiences as they happen. For more information, go to neverstopsearching.com. That's The Method with Brian J. Cano, Sunday, July 24th.
And we're on the final segment of the first hour of Paranormal Filler. Stay tuned for the second hour coming up right at the top of the hour. Okay, Dr. Kim, let's get some plugs in for you. Where are you going to be doing all this? Of course, Dr. Kimberly... No, it's actually Kimberly Rackley. I'm sorry. No, it's Doctor. There is a DR. DR, KimberlyRackley.com. Which, incidentally, everybody... Now, this is what a terrible person I am. I told her she needed to change her picture on her website because that wouldn't look like it was taken at Halloween. And it was.
It was. I promise to change it as soon as possible.
Well, all of your other pictures are so soft and friendly and, might I say, inviting to a great degree. But this one, you I don't want to say you look scary, but you look intense. That would be the word that I would use for that picture. And that's not how I think I
might have been... I was really angry that day about something too, so that probably shows.
But now but you're not. Of course, that's like your. It's like a little miniature social network site. The where are you doing your blogging at? Where will people find you for that?
DrKimberlyRackley.blogspot.com.
Okay. And
you can find me on Facebook at Dr. Kimberly Reveals, and also Facebook at The Mystic Views, and on Twitter at Dr. Kimberly R.
Now, why do you have so many different Facebook pages?
Because I like to keep my hand in lots of things. I like to express myself and be creative, so I do it in several different ways. And the Mystic Views are a totally different thing from the paranormal and the supernatural. It's totally spiritual wisdom and guidance for every day and for the month. It's my nice and sweet and minister-like expression.
So you are holding on to that horse, huh? Now while we're talking about the Mystic Views, now you used to do when I met Dr. Kim was she got onto the she did a radio show for liveparanormal.com, and then she moved over to a video network that, because he's no longer on the air, I don't even remember the name of it. Any plans on doing something that out front in public again?
Yes. It'll probably be the 1st of 2017 after I make my big change here in about 6 weeks. Everything I'm going to do is going to be based out of somewhere else, out west. So I'm not going to specify where out west yet because there's still details to be unfolded, but I just have to get settled and set up. But yes, the Mystic View radio show is coming back.
Tell me it's not Colorado.
It is not Colorado.
Good. Colorado is full of psychics, and none of them know each other. I don't know what it is. They never cross paths. But anyway, but I know a lot of psychics from the greater Colorado cosmopolitan area. So you're actually making a physical move and everything.
Yes.
Now, are you when you get back into the public domain, are you planning on doing because now you're if I remember correctly, now your live paranormal show was greatly people calling in and you giving them advice and that type of thing. But the video show was just more of an interview show like I'm doing now. What do you foresee for yourself down there? What did you enjoy most? What are you planning on doing there?
enjoy most interviewing others. Yeah. I like to share ideas and hear other people's perceptions. I mean, I love giving readings, but that's what I have a website for, and I don't need to prove my psychic ability or anything like that to the world. I mean, I don't care. But I do enjoy discovering the mystery with people who are actually living the mystery. Researchers and investigators and journalists, and I just like doing that kind of format better than focusing on me or my abilities.
And you were a good interviewer. I was on your show. What can I say?
You gave me a hard time.
You
gave me a hard time about something.
As opposed to tonight when I was just all blowing smoke up your butt for the last hour. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are certain people I've connected to in the field. And some people, when they come on the air, I can tell I'm going to connect with them. And I instantly, we become friends. But the one thing I've learned people expect out of me is that at least once or twice per show, I've got to say something that they go, "Oh my God, I can't believe he said that."
I know. It's good.
Well, it's who I am. What can I tell you? So everybody, we've been talking to Dr. Kimberly Rackley. Once again, drkimberlyrackley.com, drkimberlyrackley.blogspot.com. Look her up on Facebook under her name or The Mystic Views. And Dr. Kim, I want to thank you for coming on, and good luck with the stuff you got coming up.
Thank you, Wes.
And everybody, you've been listening to the first hour of Paranormal Filler for tonight. Stay tuned. At the top of the hour, I've got David Oman coming on, telling us about what's been going on at the Oman House and some events that he's got coming up. Stick with me, people. Be right back.
Paranormal Filler.